Ladies and gentlemen, this is not a drill. What episode 14 of Frieren just did changes the course of the show completely. Now, it's been very much hinted at, whether it's seeing a ring inside her briefcase for, most of the show to be honest, or just the numerous ways it's felt like there was at least a one-sided love between Himmel and Frieren. But the more you watch, and the way she talks about him, the more you realize that it probably wasn't really one-sided, but there was a genuine love there. But of course, Frieren being the social idiot that she is, it's not like an elf like her was going to, get married in the traditional sense to a human like him. But Jesus Christ, the journey to go to heaven, to see his ghost, is a completely different light. Now that we see that they pretty much got married all but in name. At least an engagement of some sort. So yes, she picks a ring that the symbol on the ring is eternal love. So that's pretty sweet. That's usually you'd give it to someone that you are attempting to spend your life with, or at least are in love with. But it's the fact that Himmel knew that and said, you know what, girl? You get that ring. She doesn't know what that ring means, but I want her to have it because he clearly had that love for her. But it doesn't end there. My boy got on one knee and grabbed that hand and put it on her ring finger. And I'm like, oh my lord, this show is way more romantic, way more tragically heartbreaking, and it's 10 out of 10. Full live reaction over on my Patreon. If you would like to see my full uncut thoughts on today's masterpiece of an episode, it's over there if you're interested. Eternal love be hitting hard this episode, whether it's Fern and Stark. I've been tiptoeing on where I felt like they were trying to build up because it's entirely possible, and I hate being the type of person who's like, listen, if I want these two characters in a show to get together and they don't, I get upset. And it's like, no, the author can write however they want. At the end of the day, the only one who can say for sure how characters should end up is the characters themselves. At the end of the day, what I'm seeing between Fern and Stark could simply be platonic, and it might still end up being like that. But at the same time, man, the more I watch, the more I can't help but say they are absolutely adorable together. And the idea that it didn't take 3 hours for them to pick out a bracelet because she chose it. No, it's because he thought so hard about what she would want, obviously not being able to read a lady's emotion, so it kind of pissed him off. But the fact that we have this mirror, and this is the thing I always come back to with Frieren, is they use the mirror of the past to then the present without it just feeling like a copy and paste. You don't look at Fern and Stark as just a copy and paste of Himmel as well as Frieren from back in the day. But there is similarities, and I love how they incorporate those flashbacks because what we actually have with this show is basically 7 main characters, at least right now. We have 4 currently in present day party, and 3 others, because I'm not going to count Frieren twice. That was, in a lot of ways, she kind of was 2 different people in terms of past and present, but you get my point. But by exploring the past in these flashbacks, rather than just showing us, oh, we're going to see Eisen in this moment because he's going to die in this episode. No, it's like, no, we're going to show the goofiness of them just falling I'm like, what is this Looney Tunes bastard doing? But honestly, I love this dwarf, and I'm still glad he's actually alive and kicking in present day. We get to learn and explore with both of these without it being a traditional story of, okay, usually in a party like this, we go fight the Demon King, which technically they ended up doing, of course. But the idea of rather than making that the focus of these flashbacks, it's just the actual slice of life. And there's been plenty of slice of lives that have been recommended to me that I do just find boring. I'm just like, you know what, I just can't get interested. I can tell that it's well produced, I can tell that it has good character writing, but it just ain't for me. But there's enough level of spice and excitement, whether that is one-shotting dragons or, just blasting the bird that tries to keep us away. There is that action and excitement, but the thing that has blown me away from the first episode now all the way to episode 14 is the character writing and the way they explore this family dynamic and these unlikely pairings being together and the way they open up. And the fact that it's bigger than just saying, oh, so-and-so character has to get together by the end. No, instead it's like, it is really sweet to see 2 very different characters like Stark and Fern from 2 very different walks of life have so much love and respect for the other that even though they're both young and have an immaturity about them and they do freak out, at the same time, they are there for them when it counts. And something I have to really praise what Frieren did this episode is the way they handled Fern's kind of temper tantrum. So I don't really get bothered by it like some people do, but I do notice the fact that there are these times where characters, whether it is a female or whether it's just a character being overly abusive, gets brushed aside for a joke. Doesn't really bother me, but I can do without them if they're there. She was kicking and like hitting, but not in a aggressive way. She was very playful, and I'm like, yeah, if that happened to me, I'm probably gonna laugh and think it's adorable. I just appreciate those moments. I appreciate the little ways that Frieren writes scenes to not make us like think of Fern as just like, oh, if she's upset, she's gonna give our guy a black eye. Like, no, she's not a bitch. She's visibly upset that someone forgot her birthday, especially after what she's done for him. It makes a lot of sense, and I don't think it was abusive in the slightest, like some people try to claim. I mean, any sort of things like that, some people get riled up about. I don't, even when it is extreme, but I have to admit, this was a very well way to handle that. It was just absolutely well written. And honestly, just finally get the confirmation, because the ring's been there visibly for the past few episodes, especially last week, I'm pretty sure it was. But either way, like, I was like, oh, is that a wedding ring? Is that an engagement ring? We don't know exactly. But to see the full thing, and the fact that she was willing to give up on it, without that location spell, she wouldn't have found it. Like, maybe if they spent years looking for the ring, possibly, but the idea that it was so far away, and like, she was clearly heartbroken. She was going to legitimately give up on finding the ring because they had to leave, and given Fern's kind of talks to her in previous episodes, like locating the flowers, we can't waste a human's life because time is precious. You know, from her point of view, maybe I'll look for it again once this journey ends or something like that. But the idea that part of the reward was a location spell, just the way this episode ties together and the characterization, I'm really glad we have Sign and Herb though, because now we kind of have like a proper mother-father duo in certain moments, even though Fern probably will still baby Frieren when push comes to shove. Just absolutely 10 out of 10. The background art just continuing to be stunning. The OST, man, there's like this soft acoustic track with like this slight orchestra behind it at one point. It's like, I don't know, maybe 15 minutes into the episode, give or take. I don't know what it is about the music, but it just is so captivating. It captures the mood so well. And every time I think I know what to expect from the soundtrack, they introduce another piece of music where I'm like, where have you been hiding this my whole life? But please, sir, can I have some more? I really think Frieren is anime of the year, no questions asked, and that's not me saying there hasn't been other good anime. I mean, you know, if you followed my channel, some of the shows I've raved about, and I still will rave about them. But this show has clicked with me in a way that not only is it my anime of the year, I'm already feeling it to be one of my personal favorites of all time. This is exceptionally well written, exceptionally well produced. It has the right level of spice and action, but keeping the core thing about this show, the slice of life characterization of this second journey and appreciating the limited time we all have with each other. And I am not ready if we actually get to see our boy in ghost form, because I now realize how tragic this love story, but beautiful it is, actually is. Thoughts and feelings yourself down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new around here. Of course, ring that bell so you get notified when I upload more videos to the channel. Like I mentioned, we have that full live reaction over on my Patreon. And hey, while you're over there, you also get a video shout out. So today we have Amanda Laboud, Talon, Tony Neal, Bassman280, Waka, and Big Boy J. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care and have a good one.